The flow of dollars from the advertising side to the publishers is extremely important to the ecosystem because if you think about it, the quality content is what really people want. Schlock and slog is all over the place today. We don't want that, we want quality content, but it has to be paid for. And your choices are simple. You can either have advertising or you can have paywalls, or you can have a combination of both. I'm come from the camp of content wants to be free. And it should be free because you want to inform people not based on simply on those who can pay for it. You want to inform all the people. So advertising is a very important piece of this ecosystem. But today we have a problem. The problem is there's so much friction between that dollar that starts with the advertiser and what gets to the publishers that funds journalism, if you want to call it that, or quality content. Whether it's written, whether it's video, it doesn't matter. But that chaos and that friction has caused real severe problems today. As you see with journalism, many outlets are closing and there's not good quality content. So it's important for us to remember that we need to reduce the friction.
Speaking of friction, what are some of those friction points?
Oh, it goes from all the way from planning through the ad networks, through everybody, as I call it, affectionately call it, is everybody along the way from that dollar generation to the publisher wants to take a lick of the cookie. And I don't mean a cookie in its technology sense, but it's just like a piece of fruit going, a piece of candy going through, and everybody wants to take a lick of it. And along the way, they're taking a fraction of a penny here, a fraction of a penny here, and they don't want to own up to the fact that 60% gets wasted on that friction then before it gets to the publisher, right? The content creator. And that's an enormous tax. And if you want quality content, the ecosystem itself has to own up and say, we are part of the problem and we need to fix this if we want to have quality content, because ultimately those two equations need to balance.
When we talk about ad tech, we often focus on targeting and measurement. Mm-hmm. But talk to me a little bit about the importance of operational efficiency and why is it such a key part of the media space?
Well, when you talk about efficiency is it's a kind of a, what I think it is versus what you think it is are two different things. I want to start at the beginning and say planning is inefficient. I want to talk about the way the dollar flows through, the ad tech, everything, and how they are not really efficient. We can think they are, but from the time that a dollar is actually thought about, let's go through the system, to when it gets to the end, it's an enormous amount of time. It's an enormous amount of time. So when we talk about that efficiency, we say, hey, how can we improve this? What technologies can we apply? AI is a great one. I mean, we can talk about AI all day, and we probably will, but how do we improve that to make it so we're not really focused on process, right? Process is process. Process is, that's not really thinking. That's not really smart. A process is a process. What's important to it is, look, what are you trying to accomplish, right? So if we can really take what am I trying to accomplish and then say process is different, take the process and make that much more streamlined, we end up in a better place. We get compression on time, we get better results, we get humans thinking about things in a different way.
So we are going to talk about AI, and as we know, AI is everywhere right now. And so how can it help with automation? How can it help reduce the complexity and create more value?
Yes, and that's the process question. I just talked. The way that AI comes into play is that a lot of people think about AI as AI generated, meaning AI does the work. I'm more in the camp of AI assistance. AI assistance is important because it takes process, makes it faster, gives me more time to think. I'm a publisher. I actually have my own publication. And I have noted that over time, in the last 2 years, I have been able to produce a lot more high quality content because I can leverage AI against it. It doesn't write stories for me. It doesn't do that, but it does take process. When I think about how I'm creating a story and the pieces of the puzzle that go through that, and I end up in a place where I can take the process and I can say, you do the process, I do the thinking. That's AI assisted, that's not AI generated. And you apply that in the ad tech and the ad system. We're seeing that now today with our own solution, Compass, which is eliminating 40 to 80% of the work that's known as process and allowing people to think more about what am I trying to do? What am I trying to accomplish? What result am I seeking? as opposed to I have to do this rote task over and over and over again. I mean, I remember the day, and you probably too, we all remember the day when spreadsheets, we just transferred spreadsheets back and forth. Well, today, if you're doing that, you're not keeping up with what tech can do for you today. And the beauty of it is that those processes, I keep saying it over and over to people, it's like, look, you get to think instead of do.
So what kind of changes can we make to make it easier for advertising dollars to reach publishers and creators?
Yeah, I think, I just talked about the getting more dollars to the publishers and the creators process will make that happen, because I don't need to pay that tax as much. When I talk about when I speak about a 40 to 80% reduction in process timing, you can make a choice. You can make a choice to keep the dollars yourself or return them to the generation of high quality content. You can make that choice. And I would hope that the ad tech side and the advertiser side would say, invest that, make that dollar. Because over here, the advertisers, the agencies, they want quality content. That's their whole game is about that. And you would hope that in the end they'd say, well, if you can make it more efficient and the publisher gets, instead of getting 40 cents on the dollar, the publisher gets 80 cents on the dollar, and they, on the other side of the bargain with them, is you're going to invest that in more quality content. It's a virtuous cycle.